All right, everybody, here today at 411 Business, we have Samuel Robinson. Samuel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Have you ever gone into a crowd of people and you feel swallowed up, you don't stand out, and you really want people to hear your voice? You reach for someone like me to help you be more findable. Hi, my name is Samuel F. Robinson, and I empower companies, organizations to become more findable in social media.
That's phenomenal. I really love that. That's really important.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, what's the name of your company?
Storm Raiders Marketing started 2008, and this year we are rebranding as Samuel F. Robinson everywhere.
I love it. I love it. So, do you have an Instagram?
Yes, so Instagram, IG, all social media platforms, at Samuel F. Robinson. And except for TikTok, there's a little 14-year-old guy that owns the name and he doesn't come on. I can't get to him, so I can't even buy the name. But
Well,
it's
maybe after he sees, after we post this interview, maybe we can get him to contact you. What handler name are you looking for?
Samuel F. Robinson.
Okay, well, Samuel F. Robinson, if you're out there and you see this, contact Samuel F. Robinson so we can talk some more business. I love it.
I love it. I love it. I I recognize there was a young man, Patrick McDavid. He searched for years to find the URL VT and finally when he found the guy who owned it, he bought it.
I love it. I believe in it. I'm all about manifesting. I tell everyone this is your world and life is a game. Just play it. You get what you ask for. So just put whatever you want, think about what you want and then put that into play. That's such a major part of life. Most people don't even understand how much you actually really do create your reality.
That is true. We oftentimes we understand that we're creating our reality. What we don't understand is the vocabulary that we're using. Most people think from a position of lack. Their entire vocabulary system is made up of lack words. So even when they're being positive, it comes out as lack and they attract just exactly what the words say. Very few people have a abundance mindset. If we should turn back to our kids or when we were kids and remember how we willingly shared our lunch, then take that same attitude of abundance into adulthood and be able to share our knowledge because in sharing it multiplies. But we don't think like that these days.
Well, I'm very glad that you brought that up because I do. And that's the way that I live my whole entire life. My mom coming from a loving family that my mom would always tell us how thankful she was that we were her mom. I mean, that she was our mother and that we chose her and how thankful she was for that honor, and she always made us feel so loved and so, through the trials and tribulations in life, I've learned that love really does conquer all. And so, for me, I wake up every day, and in the morning when I wake up, I ask myself questions. I hold my own self accountable, right? I say, would I have wanted to be your daughter today? Would I want to be your significant other? Would I want to be your employee? Holding ourselves accountable and asking these kind of questions and having an attitude of gratitude always, it's contagious. And so it all starts with just one person. literally, and I mean that from like the bottom of my heart. I tell people all the time, people kind of question some of the things I do, like, what are you doing? You're giving and giving and you're doing this and you're not letting people pay you. And I'm like, it just starts with one person. And when you feel so good about it, like when it's contagious. And so every day when I wake up, I'm happy. I'm like so thankful that I was able to wake up. And so people look at that and they're like, "Ooh, wow, I want some of that." And it's really just think your thoughts, because everything starts with a thought. And the most powerful part of that is that a thought can be changed. So if you've been programmed to think from a place of lack, right? That was just a programming. We can come in, and it takes 21 days to create a habit. We have all the data to prove, right? And we can teach people how to start and create an abundance. And it's by one day, then the next day, then the next day, having a routine and reprogramming their subconscious mind. So I love that you talk about that, because I'm like, that is like a super passion of mine. And I study, I read a book a week. I'm constantly, wanting to understand more and more about our brains and how they work and reprogramming.
Reprogramming is a fascinating thing. Most people don't know that they don't know. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about my people perish for lack of knowledge. And the interpretation is my people perish because they choose to be ignorant. And when you break that down a little bit more, it's not that they don't know, is that they believe they know enough and choose not to know more.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
helps to put people in a position when you help them to see that there is more to learn, and all you know is not all there is to know, and there is an opportunity to grow. When they understand that, then they become open. I recently spoke to somebody and they said, I don't need a business coach. I don't believe in having a business advisor. I don't need a mentor. And I said, why not? Did you go to school? Yes. Well, was that teacher your mentor, your coach, your advisor throughout your school? Yeah. Okay. You do need a coach. I said, well, I don't think a coach should have a coach. Really? So understand that if a coach, mentor, advisor does not have a coach, mentor, or advisor, they should not be advising you because there's no new knowledge under the sun.
Yes, we're all learning. We're constantly learning. That's the thing about life. It's a game, and you get to play it. So I totally agree. I love it. When I'm talking to different people, I even love talking to my mentor, who is 90, and he's got more energy than most 50-year-olds. I look at him, I'm like, I'm so honored to be a part of your life. I'm so honored to get to talk to you and have your knowledge and bestowed upon me, and then to understand that even he, as profoundly knowledgeable as he is, has a mentor, and his mentor has a mentor. And so that's why I'm so thankful for 411 business, because this is an opportunity for us to connect people on and really make a profound difference in the world, and not just by actions, but words and actions combined together. I always tell people, knowledge coupled with action is where wisdom comes into place.
That's
Knowledge with, go ahead.
no, I'm listening. I'm excited to hear.
Because knowledge, if you think about it, knowledge without application is dead, because our brain needs repetition in order to create the mylar, which is the white part over the brain, which creates the neural pathways, right? To create a pattern. And so the more you do something, the more your brain becomes familiar with it, right? And so just in life, it's like I'm always teaching people how to learn, and because we go to school to learn, but are we actually taught how to learn? And all of this comes down to our thoughts and processing our thoughts and understanding what really is emotional intelligence, because we're not even taught that in school. We don't even talk about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is more important than IQ, because you can be the smartest person in the world, but if you cannot control your emotions, you will lose it all.
That's true. I recently watched a clip on social media where someone in a Mercedes, someplace in New York, was driving frantically among various cars, destroying the other cars while the police was attempting to apprehend him. And you find out that people isolate themselves, then they feel robbed of their dignity, and the only response is destruction of
Yeah.
themselves and the people around them. As a business advisor, I often look at individuals and I say, I've got to work on your mindset before I work on your skill set, because you need both of those so that you can work on your money set.
So true. It is so true. I absolutely. You need both because it's a balancing act, And for so long, we've only been given bits and pieces, right, of each one, And now it's like putting them all together is so profound, and that's one of the things that I'm really excited about with the JC Coffee Foundation is we focus on emotional intelligence and financial literacy, working with underprivileged people, right? Who only know what they're taught. And so if when you know better, you do better. But it takes learning. It takes someone holding your hand, someone really caring. Anyone can just say, "This is what I did," but can they really hold your hand? Can they guide you through it? Do their actions speak louder than their words? And so I think that that's really powerful. And to be a part of it, like for me, I look and say, hey, I've raised 14 children, birth seven, and ran five different companies. So it's like when people say they don't have time, I kind of laugh, because it's like, we have time. Time is an illusion. It's only what we prioritize. So when really ultimately when you don't prioritize something, it's just because it wasn't important enough to you. It didn't fall on that level. Honestly, right? Because that's you choose. No one puts a gun to your head and makes you choose who you're going to call, what direction you're going to go in, what you're going to watch on your phone, who you're going to do business with. All of those decisions are simultaneously happening in our head, and we don't even give ourselves the credit for all the decisions that we make. We really are super powerful beings.
We are.
And yes, just like when I meet people everywhere, it's like, you're magnificent. Just the fact that you've been created is profound all in itself. So when you tell people that and you talk to them that way, imagine what it builds their confidence up inside their self. They start to think, wow, really me? I'm like, yes, you. You're amazing. You're phenomenal. There's not another you. And really that's the key, because that's where everything starts is with the thought.
I want to dive a little bit more into financial literacy. It's a very broad topic, and the word financial literacy applies in various sectors. With everything that's available, when you meet someone for the first time in your classroom, your training center, what is the first aspect of financial literacy that you want them to understand?
Well, for me, I want to well, there's something I want to understand from them first, right? I want to understand what their understanding of freedom is, financial freedom, right? Because starting with that foundation is key, right? And what I mean by that is depending upon what you consider to be freedom is going to dictate your actions, right? And then your actions dictate your understanding of what's going on, right? So if I come to you and say, "Hey, I want to teach you how to be financial, I mean, how to acquire financial freedom," and the only thing you really care about is making sure that you have a place in a house to sleep, right? That and do whatever you want to do. So maybe you need $1,000 a month, right? And that's it for you. You're not gonna want to engage in me to tell you how to run your business, I mean, how to start a business, how to do all these things, because that's not the mindset that you have. So I like to have a foundation of someone, of who they are, and get a better understanding of what they are all together, like a big picture of what they think. And then from there, I can get a better understanding. But it kind of starts with what is financial freedom to you?
Mm. I'm gonna answer that, even though it was rhetorical.
Okay.
Financial freedom for me is peace of mind, the abundance of choices, and the opportunity cost is of no consequence.
I like it.
And to put that in terms that a third grader would understand, because I understand that a lot of viewers are there, it's being able to choose sushi or a hot dog or both. It's my choice. And whichever one I choose doesn't diminish the value of the one I didn't choose.
Exactly. I love it. Because why? Because it all goes back to what? A thought, a choice, you know? And that is so powerful. I mentioned financial literacy and freedom because for me, it's about self empowerment. It's about the ability to teach somebody that look in the mirror. That's the person that you want to start counting on first, because we can only control what we can control. And when we start with empowering our own self first, learning ourselves, learning what makes us tick, learning what makes us smile, learning what makes us frown, what makes us feel unstable, so we can set boundaries for ourselves. That's the basis.
I understand, and I agree. I have a slightly different perspective on freedom.
Okay, keep going. I love it. Tell me.
And we'll have to go way back to the beginning in order to truly understand what that freedom meant. So, the ability to make choices and the ability to choose incorrectly or to choose the alternative that's not in your favor, that starts the essence of freedom. Think back to Adam and Eve. They were in the garden and they were placed into paradise and they were given the ability to understand abundance. In fact, that is all they knew at the time was abundance. So, of all the trees in the garden, you can eat from every tree, which meant abundance, and you can freely eat, which means that there was no choices except for the one tree in the middle of the garden. Now there were two trees in the middle. One tree was eternal life, and the other tree was the knowledge of good and evil. So the other tree was lack. And financial freedom in that context, they were giving the abundance to eat, freely eat from every tree except one, and they were fine. Someone came along and programmed them to ignore the abundance, focus on the lack, and put themselves in a prison. So, in the boundaries, if when you are content to operate within the boundaries you're given, that's freedom. The minute you start to desire outside the boundaries for something that you don't have and truly desire, that puts you in a position of lack. Now you're in a cage mentally, and then you act it out physically. So they were fine until Eve decided to put herself in a prison. So she was already free. She no longer valued that freedom because there was one thing that she couldn't have. Now, putting it in so a third grader could understand, if I gave you everything that you want and you have everything that you need, it was created before you were born. Would you knowingly, willingly walk away from all of that to reach for the one thing you shouldn't have?
Who knows?